The Denver Broncos continue to make strategic moves, and their latest one is a clear sign of what's coming next in free agency. The team has freed up some much needed salary cap space with George Paton working his magic, managing the cap like a pro. It's been a thrilling process to watch as Paton maneuvers through these cap decisions with precision, almost like a quarterback moving through a tight pocket. As for the Broncos' salary cap situation, it's looking pretty solid. With a recent move, the team converted Jonathan Cooper's roster bonus into a signing bonus, adding an additional $3.2 million in cap space. This brings the total available cap space to around $20 million, according to overthecap.com. While there are some discussions about how much cap space will be needed to sign the incoming rookies, it's estimated to be around $5 million. So the Broncos are still sitting with roughly $15 million to work with. Some fans are suggesting the team should save the cap space for next year, but that seems unlikely. The Broncos have already been operating with limited cap flexibility due to the Russell Wilson trade, so they're in no position to just sit back. It's clear they're preparing for a significant move, and it's more likely now with the news that Lil Jordan Humphrey is leaving. Humphrey, who had been a key player for the Broncos, is moving on to the New York Giants. While some fans are upset to see him go, others weren't as fond of his performance, especially after a crucial interception against the Ravens. Despite mixed opinions, Humphrey's decision to join the Giants is based on the opportunity for more playing time. With a receiving core that isn't as deep as other teams, the Giants offer him a better chance to shine. Although it's tough to lose a player like Humphrey, the Broncos are still focused on strengthening their roster in other ways. With the team's cap space and their ongoing adjustments, there's plenty to look forward to this offseason. A great point was made regarding Lil Jordan Humphrey and his impact on the Broncos last season. Half of the team's offensive snaps included Humphrey, and it's clear that head coach Sean Payton valued his abilities, especially as a blocking wide receiver. In fact, Payton even kept him on the roster over Tim Patrick. Nate Jackson, a former NFL player, also highlighted Humphrey's impressive blocking skills, noting that he started 7 games and was an exceptional blocker. Jackson, known for his entertaining radio presence and deep understanding of what it takes to be a wide receiver, praised Humphrey for his contributions to the team. With the Broncos now clearing up cap space by parting ways with Lil Jordan Humphrey and taking advantage of Jonathan Cooper's cap-friendly move, they are positioned to make a significant move this offseason. There are several options being discussed, and one possibility is bringing in a veteran running back like J.K. Dobbins, especially with the absence of Javonte Williams. However, another pressing need for the Broncos could be adding a veteran wide receiver to strengthen their receiving core, which includes Courtland Sutton and a handful of younger players. The Broncos have reportedly expressed interest in veteran wide receivers, and while they likely couldn't afford a big move for Cooper Kupp, they could still explore options like Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, or Stefon Diggs. Amari Cooper, who recently played for the Cleveland Browns, is one name that stands out. Though his time in Buffalo was brief, he showed his skill as a reliable, sure-handed receiver capable of making impressive plays. One of his notable strengths is his ability to create separation against zone coverage, as seen in his last season with the Bills. In one particular play against the Jets, he ran a slant route, leaving defenders in the dust and walking into the end zone for a touchdown. Despite some time away from the spotlight due to injuries, Amari Cooper still has the potential to contribute to the Broncos' offense. In Denver, fans are particularly excited about the idea of either Keenan Allen or Stefon Diggs joining the team. Allen in particular is seen as a wideout with plenty left in the tank, making him an excellent complement to the current roster. Amari Cooper might not be as dynamic as Deebo Samuel, but he's still an incredibly talented player. His skill set is exciting, and he's a smart, playmaking receiver who can contribute to a team in meaningful ways. One of his standout moments was a memorable play in a snow game where he pitched the ball back to Josh Allen for a touchdown. It's clear that Cooper has the ability to make big plays when needed, which could be an exciting addition to the Broncos' offense. Now, when discussing potential veteran receivers for the Broncos, there are a few options to consider: Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, and Stefon Diggs. Keenan Allen's skill and experience were covered in the previous week's discussion, and he's still seen as a receiver with a lot to offer. But let's also take a closer look at Stefon Diggs. His footwork and route running are among the best in the league, and his ability to create separation is impressive. The Broncos haven't had a route runner with that kind of skill in a long time. However, there's a concern about Diggs' personality. He's known for having a bit of a diva attitude, and while he may be incredibly talented, it's important to consider the team's culture. Sean Payton has built a culture of discipline and team-first mentality, and he tends to stay away from players with big egos. If someone like Josh Allen can't get along with Diggs, that raises a red flag. The Broncos are a young, hungry team, and bringing in someone with a diva mentality could disrupt that atmosphere. Despite the concerns, Diggs remains an intriguing option. He's incredibly versatile, even lining up in the backfield at times, showcasing his athleticism. However, he's coming off an injury, and while he posted a video recently showing he's on the mend, it's something to consider. Additionally, Diggs met with the New England Patriots and is waiting until after the draft for any potential moves. The Broncos do have the cap space, around $20 million, to make a move for a wide receiver, so if they decide to go after one of these players, they're in a good position to do so. As for cost, reports suggest that wide receivers like Cooper, Allen, or Diggs could have similar deals. Brandon Cooks, for example, signed a 2-year, $13 million deal with the Saints, which sets a bit of a market precedent. A 2-year, $12 million deal for a player like Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen could be a good fit for the Broncos, and I'd be really excited about that possibility. Ultimately, I trust Sean Payton's judgment when it comes to making the right choice for the team. Before wrapping up, there's one last thing to address. A Pro Football Focus reporter recently made some waves with a comment about the Broncos, but let's keep the focus on the moves that could help strengthen this team moving forward. There's been some buzz recently suggesting the Broncos might be in the market for a trade involving Deontay Pickens. While rumors have been swirling about him possibly heading to the Las Vegas Raiders, I personally would steer clear of him. Pickens has a reputation for being a bit of a diva, and when you see a player like him causing problems with a coach as experienced as Mike Tomlin, it raises serious concerns. Sure, if the Broncos did make a trade for him, I'd find enough tape to get excited, but his behavior on and off the field is worrying. He's been known to write controversial messages in his eye black, not block in the red zone, and give up on plays. His tendency to throw his quarterback, Russell Wilson, under the bus is also a red flag. While Wilson did have some rough moments last season, the Broncos' other receivers like Courtland Sutton and Marvin Mims always had his back. The fact that Pickens couldn't do the same speaks volumes about his attitude. Given these issues, I think the Broncos should steer clear of him and focus on other veteran receivers like Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, or Stefon Diggs. If I were to rank them, I'd go with Amari Cooper first. He offers a unique skill set with his ability to dominate on slant routes, much like Michael Thomas. Next, I'd pick Keenan Allen, who is similar to Courtland Sutton in terms of route running. Finally, Stefon Diggs would be my last choice, and only if he's willing to respect Sean Payton's leadership and buy into the team-first mentality. On a more positive note, there's some news that made me smile. Despite my bracket being busted, watch out for the Chargers, who just signed a tight end, Tyler Conklin. He may not be a household name or a top pick in fantasy football leagues, but it's interesting because the Chargers had their sights set on Evan Ingram. However, Ingram chose the Broncos instead, and that speaks volumes about the team's future potential. The future is bright in Denver, and moves like this show that the Broncos are a team players want to be a part of.